a little bit of time, but yeah, let's see.
Yeah, we are on air now. Exciting.
Awesome. Yay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's live session. This is Maria Malik, your executive speaking coach. I'm going to give everyone just a minute to be able to log in, get yourself settled. Do say hello in the chat and let us know where you are dialing in from. It's so interesting to see where people are dialing in from. I've never done a live at this time, so I'm really curious. So do say hello in the chat. We have the chat open and we're going to get started with today's live session. Let's make sure you guys can hear me and see me before we start. So if you can hear me, say yes, Maria, ready to go. Looks like we are live. Here you go. Nada, I can see us.
Beautiful.
All right, so let's do a quick introduction. So if you guys don't know who I am, hi everyone, my name is Maria Malik. I'm an executive speaking coach, and I specialize in helping introverted leaders really fine-tune their voice, overcome their fear of public speaking, and be the type of speakers that really leave an impact on people. And today, I have actually invited my friend Nada here, who is going to co-host this live with me. Nada, would you like to do an introduction?
Hi, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. And for those of you who are watching from my LinkedIn profile, oh my God, Artie, how's it going? That's one of my clients. And by the way, it's not just, Maria and I. This is Moose. Of course, he's always on all of my lives, and he will be coaching you all on how to be amazing speakers. So for those of you who may not know me and you're watching from Maria's profile, my name is Nada Buhendi. I'm an executive career coach. And what I absolutely love doing is helping people identify their career sweet spot so they can be very clear on their career direction and land roles that they absolutely love.
Love that. Thank you so much, Nada. So as many of you guys know, I am currently in Toronto. I will be moving soon. But while I was here, I was like, you know what? Something that I haven't done in a long time is an in-person event. And I was like, let me see who I can do this with. And I had seen Nada post a couple of years ago, and I messaged her. We became friends. We met once a few months ago. So this time while I was here, I was like, Nada, what do you think about doing an event together? Because both of us work with corporate leaders. Nada was like, yeah, that was a great idea. So we decided to do a live event, and that's why we wanted to do this live on LinkedIn so we can talk to you guys about it. So first of all, if you are from Toronto, you're going to find this really cool. This is the first time we are doing this. Let us know if you are from Toronto. Say Toronto. If you're close by, let me know what city you are from. Again, so we're seeing a couple of people from Rhode Island. We actually do have someone from Toronto, which is great. Let us know again, you guys, where are you guys dialing in from? So let's talk about the event. Now, the event that we're hosting is going to be on May 12th in downtown Toronto. And I want to let Nada kind of talk to you about what this is. So Nada, tell us more about the event. What is this and who is it for?
Absolutely. Okay, so I love telling you guys stories in terms of why I decided to partner with Maria and launch this event. So 2018, I actually quit over text. Because I was so frustrated. And if I recall basically all of the events that led to that, what was going on was I just delivered on a very large initiative that basically brought in more than $3 million into the organization. And what happened was I was literally fired from that program because I was given feedback that my tone was too clinical. And I was very devastated because, you guys, I literally spearheaded the entire program, helped the team basically deliver on all of the business outcomes on time, but I was still let go. It took me, I will say, a whole year to recover from that. And I learned a lot. And one of the big lessons that I learned is the importance of building relationships, not just letting your work speak for itself, and being able to speak in a way that resonates with people, right? So that was the big driver for me in terms of looking back at my career that I want my clients to learn from. And this is something that I have observed in a lot of my clients. There is that fear of networking, feeling icky because you don't know what to say and you don't know how to say it, feeling this sense of I don't belong in the room with executives because I don't have executive presence. I mean, how many of you here have heard that feedback where you've been told during performance reviews that we're not going to promote you because you don't have executive presence? I'm curious to see that. Put that in the chat if you've ever faced that, or maybe put in the chat if you get nervous whenever you're speaking in front of senior leadership and communicating on progress. So that's one of the big drivers that, when Maria and I were talking about, hey, what is something that we can do for our clients in this age of AI that is very difficult to learn unless you practice, right? So that's basically the origin story around the event and the origin story in terms of why we're doing this. And, we'll talk to you a little bit about what to expect in the event, but I'm going to pass it on to you, Maria, because I know that when you're working with clients as someone who is an executive communication coach, you've noticed some of the mistakes that people constantly make. What are some of the things that you keep hearing and seeing?
Yeah, great question, Nada. So some of the things that I keep seeing over and over again with my clients, and by the way, I actually have a lot of clients that come to me and say this exact thing. Maria, my boss told me that, hey, you need more executive presence. Your communication isn't up to par. What do I do about that? Please help me. So one of the biggest things that I see people do, and most of my clients are in the tech world, and I think there's like this misconception that if you're in the tech world, everything has to be so technical. Everything has to be so perfect. You have to have that reporter voice. You have to just be so perfect all the time. And when people focus on that, they start focusing a lot more on numbers, on data. They focus more on the statistics, things like that. But at the end of the day, stories, Nada, if you look back, stories have been around for how long, right? They have been passed on from generation to generation. When I think stories, I'm always thinking, okay, there's a fireplace and an elder generation person, passing on a message. People love stories. They love stories, but people are so afraid of telling stories, or they don't know how to tell stories. Because raise your hand if you will sit through YouTube or TikTok or Instagram anytime somebody says story time. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, tell me story time about this, story time about that. Stories are so powerful, but most people don't know how to tell them. And I think that's why people avoid them, which is why this event that we're doing, we're actually focusing heavily on storytelling. They are great for connecting with an audience. They're great for passing on a message, and they're great for people to actually remember your message. I want to talk about something personal to me when it comes to stories, Nada. Now, when I first started on LinkedIn a few years ago, everyone was, posting updates, contrarian posts, things like that. And I was doing the same. And I wasn't getting much traction. People didn't really know who I was until I actually told my personal story. And there were people during this time, people would message me and say, Maria, write stories, write stories. I'm like, what are you talking about? Why would anyone want to read stories here, right? So as soon as I posted my story, it really connected with audiences. People loved it. And that for me was like a stepping stone to where I am today, telling my story. So that's how powerful stories are. My story, especially on LinkedIn, literally took off my career. It helped me get the foundation right. It helped me build so much trust with people. It helped people understand who I am and why I do what I do. So telling stories, it's not just for children, reading books to them. It's not just for when you want to go to Barnes and Noble or Chapters in Canada's case. It's not just for that. Telling stories in the corporate world is actually very, very powerful. And we want to teach you guys how to do that. And this is exactly why we're having this event.
Absolutely.
Now, Nada, tell us your experience with stories. Why stories? Why did you feel like, you know what, Maria, let's tell stories? Because for me, very clear, I want people to be able to do something that they don't typically do. What was it for you?
Well, if you guys had paid attention at the very beginning, you noticed that I started with a story, with telling you all how I quit over text and how I struggled to get promoted and get recognized because I wasn't communicating in a way that created resonance with my audience, right? And I'm sure that when you heard that, the concept got ingrained in you and you were more convinced of the importance of storytelling than if I just introduced myself and said to you, hey, you shall, be a better storyteller, because we're not all kids here. When you're in a room, you want to influence in a way that is not pushy. And storytelling is the best way to do that. In fact, I will tell you all that I've worked with several clients who navigated very complex pivots, not having the title, dealing with ageism, a lot of disadvantages, being new to Canada, and how I help them land these roles. A lot of people are surprised and they say to me, oh my goodness, there's no way they were able to achieve this. But how they were able to achieve this is because I help them learn how to tell their story. Okay. So one of my clients, his name is Heath. He was a truck driver. He did not have a degree, and he was able to land at a top gaming company in Europe because he shared his story during the interview. And this is why I believe that storytelling is powerful. In fact, I want you all to think of one of your favorite speakers. Put for me in the chat, who's a speaker that you love listening to? And I bet you that that speaker tells stories.
Nada, I actually have an example that I want to share with you of a speaker I love that tells stories. So I was actually training my clients on different speaking styles, and we use Satya Nadella as an example. So what I love about Satya Nadella, and a story that he likes to tell a lot, is about his father, about how he comes from an Indian background. So his father was, very strict with him. His father always wanted him to get straight A's. I mean, look at where Satya Nadella is right now, right? He's running Microsoft. And he tells the stories like, for my father, none of that mattered. The most important thing was, hey, what are your grades? Because that is what kind of told him that, okay, this is how far my son's going to go, etc. So he tells stories like that. And if you ever look at his audience while he's speaking, people are so engaged. And the fact that I remember that story speaks a lot of volumes too. Stories are things that people remember for a very, very long time. And I love some of the examples people are giving right now. Simon Sinek, great example. Brian Tracy,
Yes.
also a great example, storyteller. So yeah, like Nada said, look at all these speakers that you love. They most probably tell stories. I'm sure you can remember at least one that they have told you. Okay. So yeah, storytelling is extremely powerful. It's something that everyone needs to be able to do. One thing I want to add, Nada, the type of people that we want coming to this event are executives that are looking to grow, right? Executives that possibly want that next position. So when I think about that, I always think about interviews, because I train a lot of people with their interview skills as well. And most people don't realize it, but you would tell stories even during an interview. You would tell stories during a presentation. You would tell stories almost everywhere and anywhere. That's also such a big misconception. Like, hey, is this a time or place to tell a story? And my answer to that is always yes. You can always tell a story. And going back to interviews, think about some of the questions that they ask you. Hey, can you tell us about a time when you had to overcome X, Y, Z? You're telling a story. Can you tell us a little bit about you? That in itself can be your origin story. It could be how you got to where you are today. So stories are everywhere. It's just a matter of people not knowing exactly how to tell them. So that's my thought just on storytelling and why it's so important. What do you think, Nada?
1,000%. In fact, whenever I coach my clients on honestly any aspect of communicating their value, whether it is marketing themselves, doesn't matter if it's on LinkedIn, on their resume, or verbally sharing what they've done, recruiters don't want to hear the generic narrative that you copy and paste from ChatGPT. What makes storytelling powerful is you ground it with specific aspects that are personal to you. And that's what makes it real. That's what makes you stand out. From a positioning perspective, that's what makes you different. Like if I, showed you this basically bottle of water carton of water, whatever you want to call it, Flow, which is a brand, they have their own personal story of why they came to life. And if you went on their website, I bet you that every single one of you would be interested in learning the story behind the product. So it's the same thing with each one of us. Now, I'm curious with everyone here in the chat, what is your biggest frustration when it comes to communicating your value, selling yourself, or even influencing through communication? I want to know. Drop that in the chat because we'd love to answer those questions. What are some of the things that you struggle with or you want to work on? For example, one of the big things that a lot of my clients struggle with is being concise in their communication. Does anyone on here struggle with that?
Yeah, I would love to know as well. Let us know who you are. Let us know if this is a challenge that you are facing. Communication, especially when it comes to storytelling.
Yeah.
You guys reply to comments. Yes, we are right here.
I'm
Where
actually
you ladies
monitoring
go.
all the comments, but just so you know, friends, there is a little bit of a lag. So if we don't respond right away, it is because there is a little bit of lag, but we'll see all the comments, we'll address them. And even if we're not able to address them during the live, we will respond to every single one of them. But I'm actually seeing Nathaniel, he actually shared something articulating my thoughts when there's so much to say. Thank you so much for sharing that. I hear you. And I work with a lot of professionals who have more than 20, 30 years of experience. And when you've done so much, it is difficult to figure out what parts of your story you should be telling. And in fact, you shouldn't be telling every single part of your story because guess what? Whoever's listening to you, whether it's the hiring manager or the recruiter, is going to be overloaded. And this is why they'll tell you later on, even if you checked all the boxes, oh, I don't think we had to go with another candidate, right? It's not because you didn't have the experience, it's because you overloaded them with so much information that is not relevant to the role that they couldn't keep up. And so one of the things that we're going to be talking about in our workshop are the 3 R's. Relevance, whatever story that you tell needs to be relevant. Resonance, you want to tell a story in such a way that builds trust. What is resonance? It's emotional resonance. Notice when I told you all the story, how many of you were probably cheering for me from the inside? Yes, you quit over text. You're our hero, right? Resonance, you can create resonance in different ways. You can create resonance with sense of humor if you're in a meeting. You can create resonance by showing a little bit of vulnerability and emotion. And Maria is really great at this. She'll teach you how to build resonance through your tone and your delivery. Okay? And then the third one is results. Because, friends, we're in the corporate world. We don't just go to work to sing kumbaya. We have to deliver on business outcomes. So the story has to have a point, and the story has to tie to what the hiring manager is looking for in terms of business outcomes, right? So these are the 3 R's. I'll repeat them again: relevance, resonance, results. And we'll teach you how to build stories that integrate all of those components during the workshop.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nada. So I would love to talk a little bit about the actual event and how it's going to go down, what to expect, and who should join us on the 12th. So again, like Nada said, the workshop that we're hosting is going to be about storytelling. It is going to be on May 12th. We are going to open doors at 5:30 p.m. to network, to speak to everyone for a little while. And then the actual lesson will start around 6. So that's when Nada will begin to teach you different types of stories and how to really get your story across. I'm going to teach you the delivery, your body language, how your tone should be so that people can really remember it and resonate with it. We're going to then have some food, mix and mingle. And then, of course, if you guys have questions and things like that, we will of course, make sure you are walking out with a story. And by the way, going back to that, everyone has a story to tell. So this is when I work with my clients, it's one of my favorite things to do. It's figuring out what your story is, which story you can tell, who you can tell it to, and really fine tuning it. So I'm really excited for this event. Nada, what would you say to someone that is thinking about coming to this? If they're thinking, hey, if they're on the fence, what would help them think that, yeah, you know what, this is for me and I should attend?
Yeah. What I'll say to you all is that we're launching this event honestly from our heart, because we are actually launching this event at cost just to cover the venue and the food. We absolutely love doing this, and this is a big reason why we're doing it. I've had so many clients who have been nudging me to do something in person, because I don't know about you all, but when COVID happened, I mean, it was just such a miserable time of more than 2 years of lockdown, and we were very isolated from the world. And I believe what's going on is because we have been in this COVID era, we've been overly relying on technology, and we've been isolating ourselves, and we've been too terrified to go out there, to network, to meet people. And what I'll say to you all is that it is impossible to have a successful career or business without building relationships and without networking. I'm sure you're all feeling this, where I constantly hear people coming to me and saying, I don't have a network, I don't have connections, I don't know people, and so I'm having trouble landing a job or moving up. And so, honestly, what we're doing is we're creating an environment for you that simulates that, where you're able to, A, practice your communication skills, because there's no way that you can be an effective communicator just by watching a YouTube video or just by speaking to ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is not going to evaluate your tone, your pacing, and your executive presence. That only happens when you're actually speaking in front of a person and there's something at stake. When you're in your PJs and you're speaking to ChatGPT, you're safe, you're not nervous. This is not the best environment to teach you how to do this properly. So that's number one, is we're simulating the environment. The second thing is we're encouraging you all to practice your networking muscle. There are amazing people. I know every single one of them who's attending, and you'll have the opportunity to create friendships. Because guess what? When you go to an event where you're struggling with something and there are other people who are sharing that struggle, that is the perfect environment for you to build friendships. So I don't know what to tell you all, but if it were me, I mean, I'd jump on the opportunity. I wish there was an event like this when I was in the corporate world. So I really encourage you all to take advantage of this opportunity. We only have a 30-person capacity, because we do want every single person in that session to have the opportunity to practice. And then, we've already sold over 10 seats and the early bird tickets are almost gone. So if I were you, I would jump on the opportunity and register.
Absolutely. I'm actually going to drop the link in the chat. Let me know if you guys can see it. Sometimes it shows up, sometimes it doesn't, depending on where I'm logging in from. Nada, maybe you can drop the link as well in
Absolutely.
there for people to review it. But yeah, like Nada said, it is going to be a small 30 people event, and we wanted to keep it at 30 people max because we want everyone to get to know each other, everyone to be able to exchange notes. And of course, going back to networking, I love that point that you made, Nada, about networking, because me being an introvert, I don't leave my house unless I absolutely have to. Like, it has to be something great for me to leave my house. And when it came to this event, first of all, I don't do a lot of these, and I don't think Nada does either. I decided to do it in person. We were like, okay, it's time that we actually meet our clients. It's time that we actually meet people and teach them in person. So I'm actually very excited for this. And for me to, like I said, get out of the house, there has to be a good reason. So I know that this is going to be so valuable for everybody that attends. Everyone's going to walk away feeling like, you know what, I'm glad I spent this time here, because not only did I gain a lot of information, but I got to meet people. And to answer your question, Sev, it is in person. We
Yes.
do a lot of online events, but this time we decided let's do it in person because I personally do have a lot of followers and clients in Toronto, and so does Nada. So that is the reason why we decided to do it in person. So if you are in Toronto in May 12th, it's a few hours, but it's going to be packed with a lot of value. You're going to be able to take so much away from this. We did drop the link in the chat. Are you guys able to see the link? Please let me know. Nada, can you drop the link as well? Because
I did. It's in there.
okay.
So friends, the event, the actual workshop officially starts at 6 p.m. And I love how I can just say 6 p.m. without saying 6 p.m. Eastern, because in Toronto for you, it's going to be 6 p.m. However, we have it starting at 5:30 for networking, right? So if you can't make it at 5:30 sharp, don't worry about it. As long as you come between 5:30 and 6, it should be fine. And then there's also opportunity to network after the event between 8 and 8:30. So make sure that you click on that link that we dropped and get your ticket, because I honestly, with how fast the 10 tickets went without us advertising it publicly, I just don't want you all to be missing out. Oh, you're living in Guadeloupe, French Caribbean island. Well, you know what? Toronto's nice. You should come and visit.
And right now is actually the best time to visit Toronto. We're finally getting really good weather.
Yes.
Like, for example, for today, it's beautiful. We were just talking about this earlier. We're like, oh my gosh, did you see the weather outside? Did you go out, Nada? So yeah, Toronto is a beautiful city. There's so much to do. I grew up in Toronto. I did move away for a while, but now that I'm here, like, Toronto will always be home. So yeah, if you're outside the city and you've wanted to visit Toronto, this is a great opportunity for you to see Toronto as well.
And a great opportunity for you to actually communicate outside of a Zoom screen. Because I'm also going to tell you all that it's very comfortable to have your little sticky notes and your cheat sheet, on your desktop or on your wall. You're not going to be able to get away with this if you are in an in-person interview, or if you are coming into the office and you're presenting to executives in person, right? And so we deliberately designed it this way to push people out of their comfort zone. So if you are the kind of person who values being challenged and loves learning and wants a version of Toastmasters, but for corporate, then this is the perfect event for you.
Absolutely. Nada, what else would you say is something that people should know? By the way, before we answer that, if you have any questions, please let us know either in the chat. If you want to ask me or Nada anything about it privately, go ahead and DM us. I can understand sometimes people are not comfortable sharing out loud. Please let us know. We'd be more than happy to answer your questions and go over anything that you need us to. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I cannot wait. And what about you, Nada? What's like the number one thing you're looking forward to when it comes to this event?
Honestly, I'm looking forward to giving all of my clients a big hug in person. they're probably going to see me and be like, "Oh my God, you're real. You have legs."
Yeah. Well, not AI. It's funny because I got on a call the other day and someone was like, "Oh, I'm so glad to see you're not AI. You just never know these days." I was like, that's interesting. That's interesting to know. But yeah, in a world of AI, in a world of where everything is online, I loved what you said about this, Nada. You can finally get out there and meet people for real. Just think of the energy, think of the atmosphere, think of how nice it is to see people and be around people that have the same goals as you. For me, that's a no-brainer. And like Nada said, if I saw an opportunity like this, I would be jumping on it as well.
Absolutely. In fact, that's something that I actually found there was an equivalent for entrepreneurs that I jumped on, I will say, maybe 2 years into my business. A lot of people ask me, how are you able to get on lives and improvise and communicate the way you do? Well, guess what? I had to work on myself as well. I had to practice. Practice is a big component when it comes to communication. So, just the sheer fact that you're going to get to practice and you're going to get feedback is going to be honestly a game changer. So I hope that I'll see a lot of you who are in Toronto in person. I look forward to it.
Me too. Nada, let's wrap everything up here. Just let people know one more time what they can expect, who this is for, and why they should come. How would you summarize all of that, Nada?
You are going to have the time of your life. If you have been frustrated with feedback about you not having executive presence, if you've been told over and over again that you're not ready, but leadership is not being very specific with you, because let's face it, they may not want to hurt your feelings, or they may have said it to you indirectly, I would really do something about it, right? As someone who's been coaching more than 1,000 professionals, I will tell you the number one reason that people struggle to land roles or move up is it really comes down to their communication. It really does. And so rather than pouring all of your energy into, let's say, taking more courses, taking more certifications, I would really invite you to actually work on the skill that is the most valuable skill right now in the world of AI, your ability to communicate and connect with people.
Exactly. If there's one thing AI cannot do for us yet, it's speak for us live in person. Yes, maybe online, and I'm seeing like these clones and everything, but this is still a skill that we're going to need. And it's funny, Nada, because somebody asked me this question. They're like, "Are you worried AI is going to take over your job?" And I was like, "Not really." I'm like, AI is not going to be able to speak for you live. Maybe if you're hiding behind a screen, yeah, but that's why I'm still here. That's why we're here, and we're still focusing and providing you guys more value on communication skills. As you guys know, it is so important, especially now that we are in 2026. So highly recommend for you guys to join this event. And of course, you guys get to meet us live. We'll get to see you guys live and take this off of Zoom for once.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Any last words, Nada, before we say bye to everyone?
No, I'm very excited to see everyone. And, don't be a stranger. If you have any questions, send a DM. And hey, who knows if you wish we could come to you to wherever you live, or if you know an organization that might benefit from this, feel free to reach out and let us know.
Absolutely, because I have a feeling this isn't just going to be a one-time thing, Nada. I'm sure we're going to love it and we're going to do more and more all throughout Canada and the US, maybe even the rest of the world later.
Yeah. For now, though, for this year, this is probably going to be the only event. So I would jump on it because it does take a lot of effort to put something like this together. So I would jump on it if this is something that you feel would really benefit you, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I want to just thank everyone for attending this live, for watching, for asking your questions. Again, we are more than happy to answer your questions if you want to send them to us in private. And Nada, I want to say thank you so much for being here today and for hosting this event with me. It's going to be amazing. I already know, and I can't wait. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.